Hi, my name is Carol Esch. I live in Pittstown, New Jersey, where I've lived for about almost 40 years. However, I lived in Long Valley since 1973 and have been a lover of Clinton and Hunterdon Art Museum for that many years. I also have a store in Chester, New Jersey called Chester Country Furnishings. So I love this area. And as I was growing up, my dad had a dark room in the basement of our house when I was a young teenager. And so I would go down there with him and develop uh, film, of course, photographs, which were magical to me. So I became an obsessive photographer all my life. And in the 70s, living in Long Valley, I met people who were interested in fiber art. At that time, more quilting fiber art. But I developed a love for that too. And I tend to be a little bit obsessive when I get involved in something, and I want to do lots of it and know all about it and get lots of books on it and all of that. So, and that may have come the love of fiber. My grandmother did needlepoint, and my father also needlepointed all of our dining room chairs. In fact, I'm sitting in a chair here that my grandmother needlepointed. And the piece behind me is a companion piece to the one that's in the art museum. It's a photograph from the Antelope Canyon in Page, Arizona, that I took, and I turned it a certain way, and it looked like a heart. So I was able to have it printed on silk, and one of my favorite artists, also in Arizona, Betty Hahn, was excited to quilt it for me, and that added immeasurably to the image. So I've called it The Heart of the Canyon, and there are two pieces in that series. So I continue to do my fiber art. I dye in marble fabric. I had a dyeing business in the 80s and 90s called True Colors, where I dyed and marbled thousands of yards of fabric. As I told you, I'm a little obsessive when I get involved in something. So it gives me great joy to share that with friends and family. I'm involved in several guilds in the area, and I have several art groups that I belong to. And the best thing about my art is all the wonderful people that I've met over the years. So I hope you enjoy this exhibit. It gives me great pleasure that both my husband and I are in it together, which has never happened before. And he's a painter. And we've gotten through this pandemic, me making 1,400 masks and giving them away, and he painting a couple of paintings. So thank you very much for having me.
My name's Don Esch. I'm one of the lucky ones that was chosen for the Hunterdon Art Museum Juried Members Art Exhibit, and I'm really grateful to be among those chosen. There are so many talented artists in our area that it's really an honor to have one of my pieces accepted. My wife Carol and I have lived in the New Jersey area, Pittstown in Hunterdon County, for over 35 years, and we've always loved this wonderful area and continue to enjoy it every day. As far as my art journey, my personal journey, I've always been able to draw. I was sort of lucky in that regard. I learned as a small child that I was pretty good at it. In college, I did a few pastel portraits. It started with a portrait of my girlfriend, and it caught fire. And I ended up doing quite a few of my colleagues' girlfriends, and made a little bit of money on the side. In the 80s, I took up watercoloring a little bit and took a couple workshops with that, and was starting to get seriously into it. And when my work priorities ended that, and I really pretty much was not able to pursue art until after I retired. When I retired in 2003, I became more serious about it and began to work for over 15 years now with Gary Godby at the Contemporary Art Center in Bedminster, taking his weekly classes for most of that time. I've also taken quite a few workshops during this period of time with various well-known artists. As far as my subject matter goes, I'm usually paint rural scenes. I grew up on a farm, which may attribute to that. I really enjoy our countryside around this area, and many of my paintings are things that I've driven by from day to day, and sort of they catch my eye, and I end up starting to paint them. As far as my style goes, I've been struggling to try to figure out what kind of painter I am, and as it has evolved, I'm finding that I do in fact have a tendency to paint very realistically. My worry is that I will go overboard on that, and I try very hard in my paintings to make sure there's plenty of brushwork evident in my work. As far as the sod farm painting goes, this location, Leon's Sod Farm on Pittstown Road, I've driven by so many times going to and from our home, and became inspired by it because of just the starkness of this white building and these big open fields, and it really caught my eye. Over the years, I've taken numerous photos and done a number of studies. The painting itself took about 3 months to finish, and working a few hours each week. In the end, I was quite pleased with the result, and I hope you are too. And I want to thank the Hunterdon Art Museum again for giving me the privilege of presenting my work there for this upcoming show. Thank you very much.